information on prevention, tools for a healthy lifestyle. Make little changes to be the best you. It's all here. A podcast empowering, informing, and motivating Bermuda to live well. Bermuda Health-Abets. Everything from A to Z on healthy living. Brought to you by the Health Promotion and Wellness Office of the Department of Health in collaboration with local health partners.
Welcome to an episode of Bermuda Health-Abets. This is a podcast where we discuss everything from A to Z on healthy living with the mission of empowering, informing, and motivating Bermuda's residents. Hi, I'm Marie Beach, your host today. I've worked for 20 years as the Healthy Schools Coordinator for the Department of Health. I work closely with schools, the Department of Education, other government departments, and most community health partners that have programs and activities in schools. Our topic today is Active Minds, Engaging Activities for the Aging Adult. And our guest today is Ms. Karen Fox-Simmons. Karen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being our guest today.
You're very welcome.
And I'm wondering if you can tell our listeners something about yourself and your role at Lefroy House Care Community.
I am the recreational therapist at Lefroy House. I've been there for roughly 22 years. Truly, I enjoy it. I don't even know where to start when it comes to Lefroy House. It has been more of a up and down kind of roller coaster. When I first started Lefroy House, we had roughly 50 to maybe 60 elders. It was a beautiful experience because most of our elders were mobile, they were active. It was a different experience from today. So the seniors that we had then were independent, a lot of them. Some of them worked in the community, in outreach programs. They worked independently. They lived in independent houses and nurses just checked in on them. So my role was completely different from what it is today. So I truly had a totally different outlook on what activities was then versus what it is today at Lefroy House.
Thank you so much. And how long have you been the activities manager at Lefroy House?
So at Lefroy, I've been there for 22 years, but I have been in this profession for roughly 24 overall.
Wow, that's close to me in some ways, that long tenure. So what is the most challenging part of being a recreational therapist in Bermuda?
That's a tricky question. Bermuda doesn't have the resources when it comes to recreational therapy, especially when it comes for the elderly population. We don't have, shall I say, enough for them to do. Bermuda is small, and that's understandable. But
what do you mean, anything?
Well, for example, we do have nature. So a lot of our seniors can get out, they can explore nature, they can enjoy those things. But Bermuda is in need of what I would call that multipurpose facility that we don't have, where we can have all our seniors put into that safety zone. We don't sort of provide that for our elders. So it's difficult to be able to manage when we're looking for that place to say, let's have activities for our seniors. Let's bring them all together one place, whether it be 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock in the morning. We can't allow for that. We don't allot for that. So it's sort of difficult to say that Bermuda provides that. We don't provide the education either when it comes to educating the facility, the caregivers, let alone the elders as to what's going on with them when it comes to recreation of the things that they can do and what is available for them. So Bermuda just needs to be more broadened in regards to recreation for elders, in regards to just educating people, period, in regards to these skills.
Thanks for that. So with that in mind, this lack of a facility, how do you push through to deliver your activities to seniors, regardless?
Well, at Lefroy House, when I first started out, we just used every bit of the facility. So we would use the cafe, we would use the kitchen area, the dining room, the outside environment. But over the years, it has changed, and our structure wasn't the best. And since which, we have upgraded our facility, and it has slowly but surely has increased. It's not completed yet, but the activity center has definitely taken a change for the better. It is actually very beautiful at this moment, and I am very proud of it, if I must say so. So we have now implemented a beauty room. So we have a beauty room where the seniors can go and they can get their hair done and feel pampered and feel as if they are of quality.
Yes.
Something that they did before. We have a snoozling room for those who have dementias and Alzheimer's, where they can go and get in touch with these senses that they don't really use on a daily basis.
Yes.
So we have that kind of a facility
To stimulate
now
their
to
brains.
stimulate all parts of their brains
Yes.
and senses. We also have an activity center now where they can come in and they can do all kinds of games and arts and crafts and all kinds of cognitive and physical activities inside the activity room. So there's all kinds of things going on. They have a beautiful mural up. They have, so they can come in, and this mural was done by Alshante Fogo, and the mural is so beautiful. It has senior citizens up so they can see the smiles and the gracefulness. And we want our seniors to come into our activity center and be able to actually see what they should look like on a daily basis. And when they come into that activity center, we want them to feel like that, and we want them to leave feeling that. So it's just a beautiful feeling now when they come into Lefroy House, into the activity center. And we want all our seniors, including those in our community, to have that same feeling.
Yes.
And I believe it's selfish of us not to be able to provide that for every senior, for those that are in their homes, for those that are living independently. So that's why I believe that there should be a multi-purpose facility, so every senior should be able to have that opportunity to be able to go to somewhere where they can have activities and be able to do things outside of the norm that we've always put on recreation for seniors, such as the bingo, the church, and the arts and crafts.
Yes.
Because it's more to it than that. I believe that when we age, we should still age in place of the things that we did. So if I was a chef and that was my love and my passion, I should still be able to do it at 80.
Yes.
So, for example, some of the things that we try to implement is, if I was, let's just say I'm a housekeeper, I should be able to still be able to enjoy that. So we implement jobs for them. And yes, I have Alzheimer's or dementia, but I could still remember to fold clothes. So if I give somebody a basket and say, is it possible you can fold these clothes for me? And give them a little simple paycheck at the end. They remember that money is valuable.
Yes.
So they fold those clothes for you, do it perfectly. They may not do it the way we call perfect, but it's to their perfection.
Yes.
But they fold those clothes. You thank you so very much. You give them that little $5. And then we have that person who was the accountant, and we open up these little grocery stores, so-called grocery stores, but they have little snacks. So the seniors can come and they can take that little $5 and they can purchase little things from the little grocery store that they may need. And they have the other elder who's now selling the items, who was once the accountant. Of course, you have the staff member who assists them to be able to make sure that the money's correct, but then they turn around and they are now doing jobs. So they still have that purpose. So they don't feel as if they're no longer needed within the community, but they're still needed within the home or the facility that they still lived in or they're living in. So if we have these multi-purpose facilities, these seniors still have something that they can do. It's still an activity that they can do. They can still do exercise programs because if you don't use it, you lose it.
It's true.
So we believe that they need to do exercise on a regular. So why can't you have one of them running a fitness camp?
Yes.
Why can't they do fitness? Even if they're in the community and they're at home, their loved ones can take them out. Take them out for walks. Take them out to the beach. Take your mom and dad. They don't have to swim Horseshoe Bay, but you can take them for a dip in the cove. So there's all kinds of things we can do.
I think that's brilliant. I'm not sure if you know that I'm a speech-language pathologist, and I've worked with seniors who have communication challenges. And so I was smiling when you were smiling at the variety of opportunities the seniors have. I have worked in a couple of nursing homes, and what you have described is in sharp contrast. And mind you, this was more than 10 years ago, well, even more than 20 years ago when I was in those nursing homes. But what I saw, I'm sure the matrons and the owners were doing the best they could with what they had. But what I saw at that time were seniors sitting quietly in a living room that hardly had any light in it sometimes, or one facility I was at had lots of light. And the seniors just sat. And some community partners came in. It was a lovely lady who would come in and read the newspaper. Somebody would come in and pray with those who were religious. I came in to do the language activities. So I'm thinking when you were saying helping the seniors to, it's sort of maintaining a level of dignity as well. But the jobs that you give them, if those were the things that they did way back, whatever, they would be using their long-term memory.
Most definitely.
Because a lot of times as people age, they lose the working memory, which is the more recent activities that have been stored in the brain. So I'm very excited to hear about what's happening at Lefroy House, and I know now why it's in such great demand.
It's definitely in great demand.
I know you have a wait list.
Yes, we do.
So I think even I might want to come there one day when it's my time.
Well, it's a beautiful environment, and I think what we love the most is the fact that our staff, they actually jump on board. We have great staff, and I think when I think of staff, I think of family, and that's what we need in our communities with our loved ones. Family is important.
Yes.
When I look at our seniors, I think of them like a house.
Yeah.
And I love to do adventures. My husband and I, we go out, I take pictures of old buildings. And when you look at a derelict house, people say, oh, somebody knock it down. But if you think of that old house has a story behind it. Yes. It's beautiful because somebody lived in it. Somebody built it. It was an amazing, whether we consider it a cottage or a mansion, it was amazing one time, and it had a whole story to it, and it left. Somebody left it and just, it died off. But it had a story. It's no different than a senior. A senior had that once beginning. It grew up, it was beautiful, it was amazing. They were this, how do you want to explain them? They were this beautiful individual in the community who'd done something. And now that they're old, they still have that legacy. Yes. So we have to look at them as this bright light instead of looking at them as something that we need to just roll over and pass on. We have to look at them and embrace what they gave and start using their knowledge, their wisdom, and enlighten them and use what they have. And just take them into the community and let them still be a part of it. Yes. Don't block them out. Build them up. And so that's what we try to do at Lefroy House. And I just would like for that to be throughout the whole community. Yeah. We have this thing, it's called happy hour. And people may think that we are crazy, but we get our staff involved, and we had this great happy hour experience because we have one of our seniors who is a mixologist. And he is teaching us how to make rum swizzle. However, he cannot remember all the ingredients at the same time. So what he is actually doing is, or what we're doing with him is, we go in and we ask him consistently, how do you make rum swizzle? How do you make it? So he may give us one ingredient one day, but then he may forget it. But then the next day he may give us a different ingredient. So we're writing down these ingredients. Although, believe it or not, some of us already know how to make rum swizzle.
Yes.
So what I've done is I've taken and gotten some staff to bring in some bottles. So what we've done is we've taken the bottles and we have put in sugar-free water. Well, it's sparkling water. You know, you can get that from Pitt & Company. They have the greatest sparkling water.
Yes.
So we take the sparkling water and we put it into the bottles, and we fill it up and we add a little bit of fresh ginger in it, you know, a little bit of lime or lemon to give it that extra kick. And then we add a little bit of food coloring, you know, to make it look like that particular rum.
Yes.
And then you add your little ginger ale and your little orange juices and stuff on the side. And we've set up a whole bar.
Beautiful.
So therefore the seniors now can come and they can have a bar, and we put the nuts and the chips on the side. So now they think they had a whole happy hour with the music. And they come up and they order drinks, and it gives him an opportunity to still be the mixologist.
Yes.
And still try to remember. This way, he has that opportunity to jog his memory to remember what ingredients go into the rum swizzle.
This is so brilliant. This is brilliant.
It's a great opportunity to help jog his memory, and an opportunity for the seniors to have a great happy hour,
social time.
the staff to have a great time. Everybody dances, has a free drink. It's not real alcohol, you know, but it's a great party time together. And those are things you can do at home with your loved ones. So, you know, you don't have to go out of your way and spend hundreds of dollars on mom or dad, auntie or uncle, husband or wife. You can just do great things around your yard, your house, things that you have. Go in the garden.
Yes.
You could do great things.
Focus sort of on their hobbies, maybe.
On their hobbies, the things that they like.
Yes.
You can do anything. Gardening is an amazing activity for elders or people that are aging. It gives them peace, sense of just serenity, just being in the garden, getting your hands dirty, watching nature grow in front of you, taking the seeds, putting them in the ground, and then just watching it grow in front of you, and then being able to eat the product that you actually grew. It makes them feel like, wow, I did that. So it's things like that that you can do with your loved ones.
I think what you've said, I'm really excited to hear this, and it's making me think of strategies that I used when I was in the nursing homes, and I focused on reminiscence therapy, going way back and looking at things that would have existed when a lot of the seniors were younger. I went and photocopied pictures of Queen of Bermuda. Boy, it stimulated so much conversation. People, oh, my brother worked on it. I went from... It's lovely. So I'm really excited to hear what you're doing up at Lefroy. Is there anything that you think Bermuda needs to put in place? Maybe you've talked about it would be nice if there was a purpose-built, functional center for seniors. But I'm thinking of ways that we can prevent our aging population from the loneliness and some of the cognitive decline that happens over time. Is there anything that you think Bermuda could do to?
I think we need to do something along the lines of like adopt a loved one or adopt a senior. If people, like we have the Big Brother, Big Sister programs, there's got to be somewhere where we can have that adopted grandparents. We look out for our neighbors, but do we really look out for our neighbors like we used to? When I was coming up, Bermudians would go next door and check on Aunt Sally or check on our Uncle Ben. But I believe that we need to go back to what it used to be and start looking out for our elders. Start actually adopting them. Maybe having one of those organizations where we actually sign up for that program.
And screen people, too.
Screen people, of course,
Yes.
because we don't want no abuse, of course. We don't want that to take place. But we would love for somebody to just adopt them, just to come and pick them up and take them for a drive. We need those programs where people can take those seniors out, spend time. When a loved one may have to go to work for a day, you have time, and you're that individual who's been screened, of course, and checked out. You can come in, whether it be in the garden with them, playing cards with them, taking them for a walk, doing their hair, doing a pedicure with them, getting their nails done.
And even for respite.
Even just, yes.
For
just
the loved ones to
something.
just have a little alone time where they can rejuvenate and restore and be healthier.
Exactly.
To take care of their loved one.
And that's a good observation. For example, we no longer at this moment are doing respite. So there are some nursing homes that do it, and for example, Lefroy at the moment isn't. So there is a need for beds.
Yes.
So if your house is available, or if you can actually come in, like people go out to people's houses when they're going on vacation and they take care of people's homes, maybe you can come in and take care of someone's loved one. Yeah. Because nursing aides are running dry at this moment, because they're going from nursing home to nursing home. We need more of that. We need people who are going to step out and start helping out. Bermuda is in desperate need, and people are aging, but they are living a lot longer. But that doesn't mean that they are not in need of someone to talk to, just to share those stories. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't write down those stories of these people. Yeah. And it would be nice, even if you just had someone who sat there and just listened to your story and you wrote it down for them. Yes. Because it's great to just share in those memories. And as you were mentioning about how you used to do the pictures, we call it the horizon box.
Okay, nice.
Where you put all that information into it, because it's great to look back on when Aunt Jackie's gone. You can always look and say, look, she had that Wonder Bread. Remember, she used to eat Wonder Bread, and you kept that little bag. Yes. Or she had the Trim and Hams bag in that box, the things that she liked. Yes. So you can always look back on her history. Because a legacy is something very, very important, and you want to keep those things. Yes. But we need to definitely start holding on to our loved ones, start spending time with them. Bermuda is in need of someone, a group of us, all of us, to be honest, because we're all aging, and we're all going to need that one person to hold on to us, to help us out, to keep us from being bored and lonely. So Rashina Masters, believe it or not, was... Oh, my God, she was amazing. Or she is amazing because she's still with us. Yes. She is amazing. And she was the one who was that go-getter, and she was the one who orchestrated the whole thing about loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. When it came to Eden Alternative, she was a fighter for it and all about it. Sometimes I wish she never retired. I know. Because she definitely had the knowledge when it came to knocking it all out. Yes.
Yeah, I have had the pleasure of working with Mrs. Masters as well, because we're all Department of Health. So what is the missing connection between what I'll call new Bermuda and the aging Bermuda that separates the generations from meaningful activities?
Well, we all knew it. That's technology. It is definitely technology. Our younger generation is all about tech. Yes. The seniors of the generation that exists today, a lot of them are not as tech smart or savvy, as they would say. And unfortunately, a lot of our younger generation don't want to share that knowledge, or shall I say, don't want to take time to put down the cell phones and those computers to be able to spend time with Granny and Grandpa. Yeah. And that is the separation, unfortunately, even though we do have a few at our facility who do have cell phones, who do have iPads, but not everybody is that advanced. And unfortunately, that is the separation between the two.
Yes.
And we have to find a happy medium. We really do. It's difficult for some seniors to go to the banks.
Yes.
And I think that's where a lot of the abuse comes in, because a lot of them don't know how to do the online. And because there's not enough tellers, and other people are taking advantage of doing the online for them, they're being taken advantage of. So the separation is definitely the tack, and we have to find some way in between to try to bring us together. And I think that's going to be a real challenge for us, knowing that we have to keep up with the times. But in order to keep up with the times, we're going to have to try to keep our seniors up. So if we want to do that, we're going to have to start implementing those kind of things earlier in life, in order for our seniors to be able to maintain it. We can't just throw it at them when they're 90 and think for them to be able to adjust.
I definitely think the existing seniors who might be over, say, 75 and up, many of them may not have interacted very much with technology. My mother's 82. You can't keep her away from her computer. She has had cell phones. My sweetie's mother has her little flip phone, but, she has a landline too. But so they're comfortable with technology. They all have TVs with 8,000 channels on them, 2 and 3 remote controls. So some seniors are more comfortable than others, so I do definitely agree with you there. But I'm thinking, like, I'm 65 now, and I'm thinking people my age and, will be the next 70-plus-year-old people. Many of us will already have interacted with technology. So hopefully the newer technologies, we have access to them before we become, the brain starts to change too much.
I hope so, because I think the next part of technology is going to be those little finger chips, our face chips, our eyeballs, and all those little crazy
artificial intelligence.
All that crazy stuff.
I'm scared of AI.
And it's a little advanced, because I was actually having a conversation with one of my seniors. She has this little flip phone, and she has these big buttons. And I was telling her, I was like, don't you think you want to get a phone where you can just say, call so-and-so? And she was like, no. And I was like, where you going with those granny buttons? She's like, well, I am a granny. I was like, but those buttons are so big. I said, I can see them from Mars. She just looked at me. She says, I don't need your ugly phone. I says, my phone's cute. I says, who has flip phones? She's like, grannies.
A lot of them do, and with the big, like you said, the big keyboard.
Big. She's got big numbers on this phone, but she's comfortable because she can press the buttons.
Yes.
She can see them without her glasses. So it's fitting for her.
Yes. And she can make her phone calls, and that's what she has it for.
She doesn't want to take the photos. Yeah. She doesn't want to get on the internet. None of that. She just wants to make the call to her daughter, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's what makes her happy, just hearing her daughter's voice. So I respect that.
Yes.
But it's just interesting how they want a particular kind of phone that they're used to.
So again, we have Miss Karen Fox-Simmons with us today, and she has been telling us about this topic, that is active minds, engaging activities for the aging adult. Karen, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. Do you have any last words of advice or important information you'd like to share before we close?
I just would like to tell everyone, look out for your loved ones. Remember that we're all going to age. And it's just an opportunity that we have when you embrace your loved one. Remember you're embracing yourself, because we're all going to get there sometime. And don't be afraid to say that aging is upon us, because it is. So take care of yourselves, take care of your health. Remember, activities is something that we all do, and so it shouldn't be that hard to just share it with someone else. So may God be with you.
Thank you, Karen. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Keep an eye on this spot for the next episode of Health-Abets. Please leave any comments or feedback on the Department of Health YouTube page and follow us on Facebook at Department of Health. Stay healthy, Bermuda.
You have been listening to Bermuda Health-Abets. Please note, anything you heard on this podcast is not a substitute for visiting your healthcare provider. If you have a topic or want a question answered, please contact the Health Promotion and Wellness Office of the Department of Health by emailing healthpromotion@gov.bm or by calling 278-4900. Be sure to listen out for the next episode of Bermuda Health-Abets.